All right, so we're gonna take a mailbag question real quick. This one was recently submitted through our website. How much money should I have in my emergency savings account? So obviously, I think we've answered that question in multiple episodes, but I think it's important and relevant if we just kind of put it out on the internet in a short form.
Cash in an emergency fund is, I mean, it's all scattered all over the board, which is such an interesting subject that we have. And, uh, in today's day and age with keeping money in an emergency fund or not keeping money in an emergency fund, I think it's really all off of preference. And I'm sure you would agree with this too, as well, CJ. Is this, I know we have our rule of thumb we like to stick with when it comes to planning. There's a lot of different financial professionals out there. CJ has certain thoughts. I have some thoughts around this, but I think when it comes to having an emergency fund out there is that typically you should keep at least 3 months of expenses on hand. And that's just to cover if you have well-funded long-term disability insurance, like most people have a 90-day wait period, then basically after 90 days, you got enough cash that's there to kind of float you through. However, there's a lot of, in today's day and age too, I will say credit cards and access to quick money, even if you didn't have the funds there, sometimes people can live a little bit leaner.
And I think the timing of it matters mostly. And if you're, I think 3 months is good to start with, like, kind of like, all right, let me start there and like see what that is. And if you do the math and you go, wow, that's a lot of money to have in cash, well, then maybe your personality doesn't need that much. Or maybe you do the math for 3 months and you go, wow, that's not a lot of money. Well, then maybe you should have more. And I think it has less to know, it has less to do with how much do you need to have an emergency account. And we try to stress the need versus want conversation across the board when it comes to most things financial. It's not so much how much do you need, but how much do you want as your personality. Are you more risky? Are you okay with having more money that's maybe invested in other things than you are with cash? Or are you less risky and you want to make sure you always have money on hand? Oftentimes spouses have a hard time agreeing on how much money they exactly should have. So it's good to at least flesh out, have the conversation, have a target set in mind as far as how much money you want to have in your emergency account, and then always keep to that target. And every time you use money from the emergency savings, you make it a focus to build that emergency savings back up to the original target.